Howdy, folks. This is Lambda, and I am here at Strange Loop with two very awesome friends. I'm going to have them introduce their names and share their pronouns with you.
I am Baptiste and pronounce he. Yeah. Okay.
I'm Christophe Grand, and my pronoun is he.
Awesome. So what brought you all to Strange Loop, and where did you come from? Where are you from?
We are from France, Paris, and we had a workshop yesterday about the compiler we wrote, which is ClojureDart. It's a Clojure that targets the Dart ecosystem, basically. The idea is to be able to build my application on desktop or mobile applications.
I'm coming from France too, not from Paris, and I'm more on the countryside. And we have been working on our own dialect of Clojure, with the goal being to reach native mobile and desktop applications.
Wow. To fill in some of the listeners that may not be familiar with Clojure, what does Clojure mean to you? And how did you first get involved doing it?
For me, Clojure is the reason I'm still doing this job. Yeah, that's it.
For me, Clojure is a long story, but basically when I encountered Clojure was pretty young, a couple of months old since the public release, and it ticked all the boxes for a language that I was looking for at the time. So it has been love at first sight with Clojure.
Yeah. So you have this partnership where you're building a tool to enable Clojure developers to do UI. Share with us why this is so significant. Where is Clojure typically used?
Clojure is used everywhere on the back end and typically front end with JavaScript. And it's a lovely language because of immutability, the REPL, and the Lisp-like features that you get with pretty much all Lisp. We thought that the missing part was basically UI, mobile, and desktop applications. And at first it was like a toy project, and it became bigger and bigger. And so now we have almost Clojure, which is fully implemented in ClojureDart. So, yeah.
Wow. So how long have you all been working on it? And has it been the entire time together, or did one person start?
So Baptiste starts. It has been, 2 years and a half?
Yeah, 2 years at the house, something like that. So it was during COVID, we had more time, so it let us work on this. But we have also jobs, so we pretty much work whenever we can. We have phases where we work during a few days straight, and yeah.
We are both independent contractors, and we are used to work as a team, mostly as a pair. Baptiste had this idea of trying to create first a list for mobile, and then it evolved into Clojure for mobile. And at first I was a bit unconvinced by the platform because Dart and Flutter are a bit too dependent on Google. But after gathering more information, he managed to convince me, and we joined forces. But yeah, the way we work on ClojureDart is dependent on our paid work. So sometimes we get the opportunity to do paid work in ClojureDart, but most of the background work, working on a compiler and so on, is done on our free time.
And I think we really have to thank ROM Research, the company. They believed in us very soon, and they financed us a few months to work fully on the compiler. And they are using ClojureDart and so I'm just thinking of that. Thanks to ROM.
Yeah, they bet their mobile strategy on ClojureDart pretty early on. And we recently got a Clojurians Together grant for the next 3 months. So it's going to allow us to spend more days on Clojure.
So that's a 3-month time? Will you be working full time on this project?
Not full time. The grant isn't enough to support the both of us full time, but it's definitely going to allow us to spend more time on it.
Okay. So what you've created helps Clojure developers and it empowers them to do native app development. And to be candid, I took the workshop that they ran the other day, and it was really exceptional. I had heard so many good things, but then experiencing it was really awesome. What struck me about it is that it is a solution to the problem that largely gets out of the way, because I've done a lot of work in ClojureScript, and I've done front-end work in Clojure and all of that. And most Clojure developers don't care about UI and they don't want to have to. And that's what stuck out to me, is it lets you, it gets out of your way to let you do what you want to do. Was that by design? Would you like to share how much did that weigh in on the decision to develop the tool?
It was not like a big strategy decision to develop the compiler. It was more how can we spend free time stuff, and then it became bigger and it took more time and it became more interesting for us. So we are more discovering what we are making. It evolves, and it's really not a business strategy. If we can make some money out of it in a few years, it would be awesome, of course, but we really don't have a past of writing a recipe of writing a UI application right now. We are still finding out how to do it, and there is no clear answer right now.
Yeah, to me, the thing is that Flutter looks very interesting, but you can only use it by writing some Dart. And I was writing some Clojure. So we chose to do the most rational thing, which is to write a compiler instead of writing in the language. As a way to bring leverage, because Clojure is more, to me, a bit more than a language. It's also a kind of toolkit for Swift. And it gives you a way to think about problem in terms of data and not focus on having a big hierarchy of classes and so on. So it puts the data front and center, and it's really something which I appreciated in Clojure. And when you have some Clojure dialects, it allows you to bring your skills to another platform, another environment, so that you only have to learn what is specific to, for example, the web platforms with ClojureScript, or to Dart and Flutter with ClojureDart, or Clojure CLR, and so on. But your core competencies stay the same. And so we have done our best in designing ClojureDart to bridge the gap between the host and Clojure itself, so that it's almost transparent that you are dealing with something else.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a very interesting thing that I guess we'll share more about Clojure. We get all of this, people talk about us, functional programming. I really feel like it's much more data oriented. And I often feel like a data oriented programmer in a big functional programming cloak that once you see inside, that's what is really going on. And it sounds like you feel like that is very illustrated in your implementation. So it's good to hear that philosophically it aligns. So for the next 3 months, you have some funding, you're working on this. What are the points in which people can get involved if they either want to use the tool or if they think they'd like to contribute on it? What are the best integration points to you, and what's the easy fruit to pick up, the low-hanging fruit?
So first, use it.
Short term, I feel that it's the best way to give us feedback.
Yeah.
Is to use it heavily to give us what are the pain points, basically. And then for the Braves, they can help us with the compiler.
Yeah, but there's more than the compiler. There's also all the tooling around Clojure. For example, we just rewrote one of the library that we ship with the compiler, and it breaks all the rules which have been written for Condo, which is a linter. And so we would help with integrating with the ecosystem at large. So better support in the IDE, and there's a lot of integration work to do. So Dart is a first-class dialect for the existing tooling. So plus documenting, writing blog posts, things like that. And also being vocal about what is good or bad, even if you figure this out. Because just as of yesterday, we discovered that we had a user with a big code base, and we had almost never heard of him. So that's both cool, but we'd like to know more about his experience.
Yeah. So it sounds like just using the tool. And is there a mechanism that you recommend for onboarding with the tool? I'm listening to this. I'm like, oh, that solves everything I want to do. How do I do it? Is it through a GitHub? Do you know, there was a workshop here. So if you're listening to this now, sorry you missed the workshop. But is there any online resources or README?
Yeah, so you can go to the GitHub repository, just type ClojureDart, and we try to write the documentation, up-to-date documentation. And also we are pretty active on Slack. We have a channel. We try to reply very fast.
And so if you type ClojureDart.org, you get to the repo. And we also have a YouTube channel with a couple of videos. We had a young woman, an intern working on ClojureDart this summer, and she produced some videos alongside some sample codes and so on. So yeah, it's some introductory material, but it's pretty easy to get started. The most difficult part is learning to navigate the Flutter ecosystem and finding documentation for that if you are not familiar with it.
Also, there is a sample directory in the project where you have 8 or 9 different micro projects, so you can just run the code. Yeah. You have example like animations, drawing stuff, input text, basic stuff, but that are still useful to get the touch and feel of Dart and Flutter.
Yeah, Flutter, the Flutter team does an amazing job at dev relations. And they are producing a lot of videos, but also some written documentation. And they have a big cookbook with a lot of recipes. And so we are trying to port them. And porting recipes is also something that we would need help with. We had a couple of peers for that in the past, but we'd really like to reach parity with the official cookbook.
Yeah, okay. So go over that again. Just using the thing is great, especially if you are using tools that may not, if you have some knowledge using VS Code or IntelliJ or things that are special to your stack, that would be some great experience. And that some outlying to-do work would be the porting to keep up to date with the Flutter documentation, which is kept fabulously up to date, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And folks can check in on the Slack channel. They can reach out. Both of you are pretty publicly accessible. Is there anything else that either of you would like to share?
I think what we are building is awesome. And I personally want to write many applications. I don't know if I will have time on that. I think we are very accessible. You can talk to us on Twitter or Slack. We always respond. So if people have any questions, we are here.
Okay, thanks, folks. That was a really wonderful chat with Baptiste and Christophe, who do the ClojureDart project. You can check the Slack channel or check out any resources and talks they have on YouTube or Twitter. Thank you.